So, Book Report added to their feature set today the ability to look at all of your historical sales on KDP. So, it loads in every single royalty spreadsheet that you've ever got, adds it all together, and shows you how much you've earned. So, it's a bit of an eye opener today. So, this is just for my ebook sales. It doesn't take in paperbacks or audiobooks or anything like that. It's purely ebook sales on Amazon KDP, and it shows that since February 2011 I've earned almost £250,000, which when you break it down by year, it's not a huge fortune. It's a decent living, but it's not a huge fortune. But what it does show me is that since I started writing books, my words have made almost I've made £200,000 in revenue of people downloading my books onto Kindle and paying me money. That's £200,000 other people have paid me for my books, and it's kind of made me pinch myself a little bit to see that amount of money has been spent on my books from people reading. And again, that figure's even higher when you take in audiobooks, paperbacks, other things that I do. Advances I've had and books that are traditionally published. So I'd say £250,000 is probably the amount I've earned since becoming a self-published author, and that's it seems crazy and absurd to me. So I just wanted to share that, firstly to put my money where my mouth is, so people can see that I do earn a decent living from self-publishing. So anyone that tells you self-publishing doesn't make money, there's the proof on screen for you right there. But it's also interesting that it tells me how much each of my books have made. So you can see here The Final Winter's my top earning book ever, and it's made £31,000. So you think, okay, that book's made £31,000 in 6 years. Wow, it's not James Patterson. But when you take into account that maybe a book on average takes me 3 or 4 months to write, that's 3 or 4 months of work has made me 31,000 and counting. That book's still selling and will continue to sell. So in 6 years, The Final Winter's made 31 grand. So in 10 years, will it have made 40 or 50? For something that took 3-4 months of my time. Same with Ravage has made 20. Ravage took me about 3.5-4 months to write, and it's made me £20,000. So when you look at it like that, that's a decent amount of money to make. Four months work is maybe 20 grand, which works out at 5 grand a month for that book in actual costs, and that figure's still growing as well. So to read into that, you can see my top 3 books are all apocalyptic books, and The Gates is actually one of my newer books. So the fact that it's caught up with Ravage and The Final Winter, which have been on sale a lot longer, shows me categorically that my most popular book is The Gates. Legion's not massively far down as one of my newest books, but it's a good way of seeing what books are popular and what ones aren't. So Wings of Sorrow is right down the bottom, unfortunately, which is my young adult fantasy novel. Obviously it's not very popular. My soft target books are a little lower down as well. Soft target is low because it's been free forever, but Hot Zone is made £2,000 in, I don't know, has it been out 2-3 years? So 2 years I'd say. So yeah, it shows me that I should concentrate on my apocalyptic books. And then you've got The Housemates and Asbo are 4th and 5th, where those are my realistic horror. There's no supernatural elements to those books. So it shows me to focus on my core projects, the things that got me my fans and that my fans love. Also tells me that 60% of my earnings have been from the US store, almost 40% from the UK. So people often ask me, do most of your sales come from America? 60% of them do. So that's, considering the UK is a much smaller population, that's not bad to have 40% of sales in the UK. And also, for those of you that ever doubt my origin story, that within 6 months I was earning the same amount that I'd been making in my sales job. Well, there's the graph. You can see that September, my first month of sales, or was it August? August, my first month of sales, made 20 quid. Second month, September, I made 100 quid. Third month, I made 340. Then I made 600 quid. I was starting to get excited. It levelled off a bit, made £1,000. So there you go, 2 months of making £1,000. So that's when I was like, hang on, this is one book. I'm making £1,000 a month. I was only picking up 1,100-1,200 a month as a salesperson. And there's a slight dip, and then it climbed and it climbed and it climbed and it climbed, and then within 1 year I had this crazy month where I made £5,000, which was, you know, four months' wages at my old job, which is more than I'd ever thought I'd make. And then that was a one-off, so it dropped down again, but it still kept this upward shift. And then I was hit by a bit of a slump there, and I managed to rescue it and get it all the way back up again, back to sort of the £5,000 a month. And thereabouts, and then I had another massive slump there, but I rescued it. This was the crisis in my career where I really thought everything was over, and this is where Kindle Unlimited version 1 came in and just crippled my sales. And then they brought in Kindle version 2, and you can see now that the money here in blue is the Kindle Unlimited sales. You see, it really wasn't benefiting me that much. I'd lost all this sales in red, which was my actual sales, and the blue wasn't really making up for it. But then when they changed Kindle Unlimited, the amount I was getting from the blue increased substantially. So you see there I made $7,500, 6.5. So this small blue segment was where I was hurt by Kindle Unlimited, and then where it gets much bigger is where Amazon changed things. So see, at the moment it's about half and half. But it's really interesting to kind of see the trajectory of my career. You know, and it's sales are going down at the moment. I'm struggling a little bit, but that's because I've been focusing on, you know, other projects like an Audible project I'm doing and my A to Z of self-publishing. But I plan on releasing, you know, a lot of books quickly over the next couple of years once that's all out of the way. So I'd imagine this is going to, you know, go up soon. So I'm not too worried. But yeah, I found that, you know, really interesting that they've added all that today. And I just wanted to show you sort of that figure, £200,000 from ebooks in the last, you know, 6 years or so. If you discount the first few months where I was pretty much doing nothing, that's, you know, about six years worth of established sales. So yeah, there you go. That's what self-publishing can do for you, and let the naysayers be damned.